inevitable.
You have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy.
I'm totally Batman.
Oh, man.
Shh. Communing with the earth spirits.
Welcome to California, bud.
Cowabunga.
And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour.
Get out of here, Moth.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. We're talking about the brand new Marvel movie just hit in theaters, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This is your host, Trevor, and joining me as usual is...
Hey guys, it's Prague.
Of course, I didn't see the movie. This is DeLorean Wolfgang, or Alexander Wolfgang. God, I don't know what name I'm going with anymore. Multiverse, baby! Woo!
And we have a special guest joining us.
Hi guys, it's Michelle.
Welcome back, Michelle.
Welcome back.
I feel
Another
like
one,
I was
another
just
one.
here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Ooh, I hope you're bringing up the ratings for us because, boy, oh boy, I feel like we're not doing too hot right now.
Oh no.
But people love Doctor Strange.
People love Doctor Strange. But off the heels off that Moon Knight, let's hope Doctor Strange brings it all back, Marvel.
So, if you are brand new, we're talking about Doctor Strange 2. And the biggest thing is we're going to start off spoiler-free. So, if you haven't gone to the theaters yet, you're waiting for it to come out on the streaming platform. That's totally fine. We're just going to offer our take. And then after that, we're going to tell you we're going to spoil every single aspect. And there's a lot to spoil in this film because Marvel likes tying everything together. That's kind of their MO right now of their last however many films. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yes. The alternate title. But also another good movie you should also see. Just FYI.
So
yes.
I'll go first with our spoiler-free since Alex hasn't seen it.
Yes. Because we will spoil this, FYI, to you watching or listening to this episode. But first, we're going to give you our non-spoiler.
So for me, I would say this movie was outstanding. I left the theater with a big smile on my face. I loved all the stuff that they did. I love multiverses, so I might be biased, but they did a really good job handling the Marvel multiverse and all that it entails. And I liked the horror aspects of it. It was surprising. Like, I know that they told us it was going to be horror, but I was pleasantly surprised how they put it in place. But I think just they didn't have a bunch of stuff for the sake of stuff. It kind of fit the storyline with what they were going with. It wasn't just like, oh, look, here's the kitchen sink too. It was like, okay, we were actually building a narrative of why Doctor Strange is dealing with all of this stuff. And then it tied into so many different things we've talked about on this podcast, whether it's WandaVision or What If or all kinds of stuff. So hopefully, if you haven't seen Doctor Strange 2, there's a lot of other stuff hopefully you have seen first. That's kind of the biggest takeaway.
Nice. Yeah, this is a no filler thriller for sure. So I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I didn't know what my expectations really were going into this. I had discussed this a little bit with Alice before we went on the air. I had probably way too much headcanon and expectations going into this, and I knew that would not be a good way to enter this film. So I kind of took my expectations down. And I said, you know what? We're not going to get every single cameo in all of existence, and everything's going to happen, even though so much happens in this movie. So I just had fun. Like, it was such a fun, different Marvel film. It's like nothing we had ever seen before. At least I haven't. This, to me, and as I've mentioned on the show before, I was not a fan of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films. I don't think he was the right choice for those films, and I love Sam Raimi. But I love Sam Raimi's horror. I love the Evil Dead series. So he brought that to this. Like, this movie from top to bottom felt like Sam Raimi. So I enjoyed that. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Wanda and WandaVision, and this is like 99.9% WandaVision. And then there's that little percent of Doctor Strange, which was nice to have too. There's more
That's
than
a
that. There's a lot of
spoiler
Doctor
all on
Strange in
its
this.
Yeah, calm down, Frog.
Jeez,
I will
dude.
try not to spill too much, but it was all in the trailers. If you watch the trailers, you know Wanda's in this, and it does touch on WandaVision. Obviously, it takes place right after. So there is that. What else can I say without spoiling too much? It is probably like I watched a lot of horror, so like nothing was overtly scary to me, but I can see this being pretty scary for people that are not into horror because this is something we haven't seen in the Marvel universe before. We've seen maybe some aspects of monsters and stuff, but not true like classic horror tropes in a Marvel show or film before. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
I just want to throw
Next.
one thing in before you go,
Mhm.
Michelle.
Okay.
I find it to be pretty amazing that a director like Sam Raimi, who came from a small budget, small film like Evil Dead, which ended up becoming a huge cult classic, to now he's doing giant blockbuster films like this, like Doctor Strange. It's wild to me. I love hearing a success story like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Kudos to you, Sam Raimi.
Okay,
All right,
so
Michelle.
my spoiler-free review. So we saw it this afternoon, so I'm definitely still on that like really hype,
You're
like,
fresh,
high level.
nice.
It's like don't know how I feel in a few days, but coming off of that, I really loved this movie. It was so much fun. I'd say I had pretty like I didn't really have expectations for this movie, and I'm glad that I didn't because it just blew me out of the water, and I loved that. I love multiverse stuff, so it's it was great. I would say as somebody who is a huge scaredy cat and like I get scared watching Stranger Things, I didn't think it was super scary. There's definitely some tense moments. There is a moment where I did kind of like look away because I knew something bad was going to happen. Because they really, really build that tension, but I wouldn't say it's super scary. Maybe if you have like small children who really like Marvel movies, maybe leave them at home. It is PG-13. Or
take them and scare them and scar them.
Or take them and scare them. Maybe they like scary things. I was not that kind of kid, but there are kids that like scary things. And that if you liked Spider-Man, if you liked the most recent Spider-Man, you'll probably like this movie. If you don't watch Marvel movies and you just really like Doctor Strange, maybe, or you just want to go see something that you think is good, you're not going to like this movie because there's just too much going on. You really need to know everything to be able to follow this movie. Otherwise, you're just going to hate it because you're not going to understand what's going on.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say before we dive into spoilers that this felt less like a movie and more of a like, here's Marvel, here's the multiverse. If that makes sense, like there wasn't your traditional, 3-act structure to this that much. Like if it really felt like this is like a love letter to people who like love the MCU and love comics to me, and I'm fine with that. I don't think everyone's going to be though. So
yeah,
that's
just
fair.
fair
The
warning.
movie, it hits the ground running, and it
Oh,
doesn't
it's
really
just like No
let
Way
up.
Home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the whole time, never stops. There's
there's really no. We had to pee during the movie, and
I was like, "There's no pee.
There's no pee. There's no point that you can leave. Go to the
Really
bathroom
isn't.
before."
Yes, plan ahead. Do that. So, anyways, there's our spoiler-free review.
Well, before we get into the spoilers, or before you guys get into the spoilers, make sure you go over to crossthestreamsmedia.com. If you enjoyed this movie, leave us a voicemail. If you didn't like this movie, leave us a voicemail. We want to hear from our fans, dude. It's fun. So go over to Cross the Streams Media. You can leave one over there. You can find all of our episodes, everything over there. You can find us over on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You'll find all of our episodes over there as well. And YouTube. YouTube is you're gonna find a lot of really fun stuff over there. I don't know. YouTube's it's kind of like my go-to whenever I listen to us, because I listen to I know I'm a narcissist. I love mine. I love it. Go over there, make sure to like and subscribe because it helps the algorithm, gets other people listening to us, gets other people seeing us. Either way, we just want you guys to like us, just like me. Yeah, so all this is free for you and priceless to us. Let's get into some spoilers.
Where do you even start?
Where do you start? I mean,
You know, I the whole thing's a spoiler, like the whole movie from the beginning to the end. So I
I
guess we
want
can
to
just
have some few highlights that I actually like. Once the movie ended, I took out my phone. I'm like, okay, I need to make notes of these before I forget. And so
okay.
at the very open, or not at once we see our Doctor Strange from the first film, because the very open's a different Doctor Strange. But once we
Yes.
see our Doctor Strange, they put any kind of gel and comb in his hair to make him look identical to the comic Doctor Strange. It was eerie how live action version of the comic, because in the first one he's like Doctor Strange. This one he looked exactly like Doctor Strange from the comics.
Yeah, he really does. Like that's the one thing Sam Raimi does. Like, and I'll give him credit to that for the Spider-Man films. Like, those characters look just like they came off the page. Like Peter's apartment looks like it came off the page. Like, he does a good job of making these characters look like their comic book counterpoints. So kudos to him for that, for sure. It really paid off in this film visually.
So that's it.
I
Huh?
don't have anything to say about what he looks like.
Well, do you have anything
Hey.
else that you like?
What I like?
Amazing
about
review,
this hair.
guys. I'm so glad that I stuck around for the spoiler portion of this.
That was it.
Unbelievable.
That was it. It's
Doctor
that
Strange
one.
looks like he does in the
So
comics.
good.
I mean, there's tons of stuff. I was
So I didn't
First
know
thing
we
that
were
I
doing our
wanted-
best stuff. That was
the
my
first thing I
bad.
wanted to say is, they tell you that all of the shows that you have to watch on the streaming services, they're not must watches, and they lied to you. They really lied to you, because if you have not seen WandaVision, you're not gonna get Wanda at all in this show or in this movie. It's on the show.
The
I
last
don't
time
get
we
Wanda
saw
anyways.
Wanda in a movie, she's like, she goes to the funeral and she's
Tony
like,
Stark, yeah.
she's sad or whatever. And she's made quite a leap in character development from Endgame to Doctor Strange 2.
For sure. Yeah, I
And
kind of
honestly,
wonder what the time period is between WandaVision and this movie.
Yeah.
We weren't told that.
I think it's pretty recent, just based on when Doctor Strange does show up, and she's like, "Oh, you're here because of Westview. I made mistakes, yada yada yada." And
makes
he's like,
sense.
"That's not why I'm here." So, and that'd be the first thing where people are like, "What is Westview? What are they talking about? What did she do?" And then her kids are like pivotal to this plot. Like, if you're like, Wanda has kids. Yes, she does.
And
She
the
does have
kids are like already 12 years old.
Yeah. Like, people are just not gonna
Has
get
it been
that.
12 years since Endgame?
Has it been? Maybe. Then
I
like, what
think that's
happened?
kind of
When
a
did he?
hard
When
thing,
she?
too.
Yeah.
That's kind of a hard thing too, because when you watch WandaVision, it was almost like the kids kind of just like show up and then they get older really quick. Maybe is it smart to do a rewatch of WandaVision to an extent?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for those people
I feel
that-
have greater appreciation for WandaVision. Like, again,
Yeah.
the finale of WandaVision left a bad taste in my mouth, but it's still an outstanding show, and it's even that much better just because they describe what Wanda goes through, and now Wanda feels like she's exhausted all resources and has literally, spoiler, become the villain of this film.
I mean, everyone kind of knew that she was going to be like.
I know.
I like how it kind of feels like maybe she's not. Like, we started watching, I was like, oh, is that a total misdirect? Like, did it? And no, she is.
Well, I'm glad that they did that at the start too, instead of
Mm-hmm.
waiting until like a third act or something. It was like within
Yeah.
the first like 5 minutes. She's like, "Oh, by the way, yeah, that was me the whole time. You're screwed. I'm gonna kill you all. Bye." It's like, okay.
But
Oh
she
my
was
god.
she was a very good, very scary villain. Like, most
Yes.
of the scares in this movie come from her.
We're from her. Yeah, I wrote that in my notes. I'm like, she was the scariest person in this film. It's fantastic.
Trevor doesn't like those, like, where they take out the frame
Oh
rate.
yeah, the
things.
horror thing
Oh,
where they
yes.
cut and they did it with her because. So there's a sequence where Doctor Strange throws her into like a mirror universe,
Uh-huh.
and she literally forces her way out. She gets all
Yes.
cut up by the blades of the mirror, and her spine cracks, and she comes out with her arms first, and it's just super creepy.
It's very much the same way that Pennywise comes out of the fridge in It Chapter 1. It's that same
Yeah.
kind of like, twisty turny kind of puppet look, which it was kind of
Dude, but that
creepy,
whole scene where
scary.
she's like pulling people into the puddles and they're like, cover all the reflective surfaces. I was like, Jesus.
Well, what they did well in those scenes is that they made everyone scared of her. It would be one
Yeah.
thing if they were like just combative, but they were legitimately terrified of her, because of the Darkhold as well. Like they actually explained how powerful the Darkhold was, and that she's this powerful entity, but in having that entity and being able to suck the powers out of America Chavez, who we'll talk about here in a minute, would make her like infinitely destructible. She would destroy reality as we know it. Like everything would just cease to exist.
They said how powerful she is. Like it's crazy that they got to find their own source for their big bad villain. Like it's literally just one of the persons that was in the existing films, and it makes sense. Like Wanda's that powerful of a character in the comics. It's not like they made a stretch or anything, and they show it just at the very start where they have all the people, with their little Doctor Strange shields up, and she still breaks through. Like she's sending out her little red pulses and stuff, but what she does is she messes with people's minds, and that's always scary.
And she just, she killed all those people, just no remorse. She just I like how when she talked about, so she sends those demons. We actually discussed this, and we can go into it again after America Chavez. She's like, that was me being reasonable. That was me showing mercy. She's like, not anymore. Like then she just massacres them.
Yeah, she said I tried it my way. I tried to be nice. Girl. It did not work out, so we're not going to play nice anymore. So let's kind of like so we're not too over the place. We get introduced to a new character in the MCU, which is America Chavez. It's a character I've been aware of for a while, but I never read the comics with her in them. So this was kind of like my first introduction into like her and her character, and it was kind of neat to see kind of a really kind of unique character. I always like characters that are kind of very singular in their abilities, and she
very
is kind
X-Men.
Right, she's very X-Men. That's probably why I like her a lot.
Yeah.
And we really don't see that many X-Men type characters in the MCU, so it's kind of nice to have that for me. So basically, we haven't got to that spoiler yet. But it was nice because so at the very beginning we find out that she can create portals through multiple dimensions. She can travel through the dimensions. She's not very good at it, but she has this power, and of course Wanda wants to absorb her powers to be able to get to her children. That's kind of the whole setup for this film. I just wanted to kind of set the scene for everybody at home listening.
I know. I feel like I'm just jumping all over the place. I'm like, I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about that. And
we're the spoiler section. I mean, people hopefully have seen this film, so it resonates.
Sure. But I wanted to have some kind of
I know.
through line here.
And I want to ask a question. So, Prague, you're a big Wanda fan, so you've probably read her comics and everything like that. Has she always pretty much started off as a good guy and then transitioned into a bad guy in the comics, or is this like new?
She has always been a bad guy at the beginning, and then she has kind of been like, there's a lot of like villainous type characters in the comics and Marvel that always start out bad and then kind of become good and like join the Avengers, the X-Men, or whatever. Rogue was that way. She started off as one of the bad guys with Magneto. Well, so did Scarlet Witch. So it's kind of nice to see this is kind of like the starting point for the Scarlet Witch. We had Wanda before, but we never had her really as a Scarlet Witch until the very last episode of WandaVision. And now in this, she can be the big bad villain that now finds her redemption arc and can be, an actual hero now. Because we've only seen her be kind of this, I don't know what you want to call her, an anarchist in a way. Freedom fighter, anti-hero.
Anarchist works well because she's manipulated by Ultron to fight against the Avengers, and then she falls for Vision, and she just essentially is doing what Vision does. That's the only tie she has to being good. It's just, this is what Vision's doing, and then once Vision's taken out of the equation, she has no center to guide her decisions.
Right, and I think now after all the destruction and chaos and death that she she killed so many people in this, now she has a reason to redeem that. Like that's her redemption path. Because it really wasn't Wanda so much as it was the Darkhold kind of corrupting her. And what this film was that I kind of enjoyed was that it was like the Dark Phoenix story from the X-Men that the X-Men ruined twice in two different films. I don't know how, but they did. And this was like that version for the MCU. This was their Dark Phoenix, and I really appreciated that.
We might still get an MCU Dark Phoenix one day.
We might. We'll see.
Maybe.
We hope. We hope. So, yeah, to your point, Alex, yes, she was bad from the beginning, and she kind of goes back and forth throughout.
Yeah, that I was like, from what I know about Wanda, she's always like she's good for a little bit, and then she's kind of bad, and then she's good, and then she's like really bad, and then she's good, and she just
so
she's an anti-hero.
Magic. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I was going to ask you, Prog, since you are a big Wanda fan, how did you like seeing her as a villain?
Oh, I loved it. I like villains. So
yeah, because I know you like
fine
villains.
with
I know
it.
you like Wanda, so this was like perfect, right?
Yeah, I loved it. It was
I
great.
like that it gave us like a way to see how powerful she is, because I don't think they ever would have let her be that powerful against like a very strong adversary. She'd destroy anybody she came up against, like any of the villains we've seen in the MCU so far.
Right.
You're like, well, why didn't she stop Thanos if she's this powerful?
I mean, she was close, and then Thanos has
Right.
the whole ship launch every single rocket at her at
That's
once.
true.
Well, I think part of it too was that she hadn't fully become the Scarlet Witch at that point,
Yeah.
where she did have the full force of her powers. Now she has the Darkhold as well, so she's kind of drawing power from everything. Whereas before she didn't quite know any of that stuff or what she was capable of.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with her from now on.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully,
I mean, you
she
have to nerf
goes
her a
somewhere.
little bit because that's
Oh,
one
yeah.
fun thing of this. The reason they can hit the ground running is because, like, say you're introducing a brand new villain, like in Thor Ragnarok, you have to introduce Hela and you have to say who
Right,
she
how-
is and
yeah, how
how
she
she has her
became to be,
powers and all
right.
this stuff. It's like, Scarlet Witch? Cool. Well, let's go. We need to go
Let's go.
against her.
Exactly. We don't have to explain anything.
It,
Here
it
you
really
go.
helps to just go and have constant action for the film.
Okay, and to spoil the ending then of the film for those who are watching this, other than Alex that still haven't watched it, I think that her powers are going to be nerfed because she did destroy
She destroys the Darkhold.
everything. Like, right, she destroyed the Darkhold and she destroyed the original text at the mountain. Everything's gone. So I
Okay,
don't think she's going to have that power anymore.
And that's where I was
All of
going to
it.
jump in, because with you guys saying how powerful she is and the increasing amount of power that it's almost like every villain is always upping, and it's just becoming bigger, more powerful. Now we're multi-universe powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like eventually it's too big to where we can't even comprehend and it's not even really going to be enjoyable if it gets too big.
That's what happened in the comics. That's why they came up with celestial beings, because all the terrestrial beings were becoming so powerful. So how do we get something more powerful than that? These things that float around the entire universe.
Yep. It happens.
So
Yeah.
I know.
it's definitely, I mean, you can only go so big.
It's true. Yeah.
True, Alex.
Galactus.
Well, no, and even with Galactus, it seems, from what I know, I don't know a lot about this movie because obviously I haven't seen it, but from what I've seen with, everything before this, even if Galactus came around, I don't think it matters. I think Doctor Strange can still take him on. Look what Doctor Strange did in the first movie. He had a giant planet-sized thing and he just kept reversing his memory reversing time over and over and over again until he's like, hey, wait a minute, we've done this before.
Yeah.
He annoyed him. He
Annoyed
him.
And he's like, I'm done. I don't like this.
So to your point, like I agree. Like, yeah, sometimes it's going to feel like, it doesn't matter. We've done this before. We've had bigger stakes or whatever. But what Marvel does, and what I appreciate from the comics and the movies and shows, is that it's more about the individual, the human stakes, the human drama within these bigger. Like, at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter if Wanda like kills everybody or whatever. It's her trying to deal with her grief and get back to her kids and come to an understanding of what the right and wrong, and the whole ideas of fate and everything that happens with all these different characters is more fascinating, at least to me. I mean, maybe I'm in the minority, but I don't think I am, for people, rather than, who's the next big bad who's going to destroy us all.
It's the narrative building of the individual characters. Like, the reason that Doctor Strange is interesting because we're starting to. They don't know how to use Doctor Strange because, again, it's a metaphysical idea. It's not like, oh, hey, it's Captain America, I punch things. It's not that straightforward. And so you have to explain it. And so the way to counteract that is they emphasize in the movie that Doctor Strange, we do the mystical arts. But what Wanda's doing is witchcraft. And that's how you get into the whole idea of, that's how you balance mystical arts. Doctor Strange isn't going to fight some guy who's punching people or shooting people or anything like that. He has to fight something that counteracts it completely. And so that's what makes it interesting on the character level of you go into each character. Like, what does Thor do particularly? Well, he's the god of thunder. He can't just fight some low-level thug guy. He has to fight a fellow god. But Iron Man, he's not going to go fight some god from the underworld. He's going to fight people who deal with machines or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a balance for each individual character.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not going to send Spider-Man to do a Doctor Strange job.
No.
But that's where my point was, where things just are getting too big. Where
I want them to go bigger.
Yeah, well, that's why they have to do the team ups, because Spider-Man can, again, he's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, so he has to focus on New York. It's the reason Daredevil is a street vigilante, and then you up it to Spider-Man, and then you up it to Captain America, where it's more of a global threat, and then you up it to Doctor Strange, where it's more of or Thor, where it's a universe threat, and then Doctor Strange, where it's a multi-dimensional threat. So you have those tiers of heroes for each threat that it is.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go.
Cool.
There you go. Good question, though, Alex.
Thank
that's
you.
something. I mean, it's something that I have, and it's been discussed for many years with a lot of us nerds that read comics. It's the who's too OP. And is that enough?
It's a
Is
tough
that
balance.
worth it? It is a tough balance, but I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to the characters and their stories, not how OP a character is. That's not what matters.
Why what they're doing with Kang is so interesting. Like, I don't want to get too away from Doctor Strange, but the idea that we're introducing the Young Avengers and could potentially have different versions of Kang, you could have Kang at those different threat levels, where you could have a Kang that the Young Avengers can take on. Then you can have a Kang that the full Avengers have to take on. And it's but it's the same bad guy, but you have different levels. So it's not necessarily OP'd. You do the power to what kind of crew you have at your disposal in storytelling.
Exactly.
And you have a Kang that the Illuminati take.
That Kang, he doesn't need to do much.
He doesn't have to.
Do we want to talk about the Illuminati?
We should.
The big moment that I was waiting for the whole time. I was just sitting there the whole movie. I'm like,
we had the worst audience in our theater, because this is the moment where you go to movies opening day. This is when people clap. This is when they cheer. They call out. It's so fun.
They gasp. Yeah. It was,
nothing.
There was crickets.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nothing.
I did pretty decent. I didn't have the best, but I had a decent audience.
I was so disappointed.
That's how I want my audience. Keep it down.
Don't keep it down.
It's like watching it at home, man.
Yeah.
That's how much reaction we got.
Except the seats were shaking.
I bet you can guess who got the biggest gasp in my showing.
It's Patrick Stewart, I'm guessing.
No, I mean, it was the one that was not revealed.
Tom Cruise.
No, it's John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic.
Darn it. No Tom Cruise?
No Tom Cruise.
Son of a... All right. Well, that's the spoiler I was looking for.
He's like, I'm done. That's all I was waiting for.
Thank you.
We should have said that at the top.
Thank you. I am out of here.
But yeah, they did a really good job of keeping that secret. Like, I didn't... Because I knew before I saw the movie that he was going to be in it, because I saw a leak stupidly, which was really ticked me off. I saw a picture online, I think on YouTube or something. So I knew that, but that leak didn't come out until the first viewing on Monday. No, I did not hear a peep about this beforehand. I mean, everyone wanted him to be. It was a fan casting thing, but no one had confirmed it. He never confirmed it. It was very hush hush. So it was a pretty big shock, I think, for anyone that wasn't like actively looking for spoilers or was online. And yeah, my theater went kind of crazy. They're like, "What the heck?"
And now he never has to do it again, because
he's good because Wanda
gets killed.
I mean,
so that's what's so interesting about this whole thing, is that now that you've created a multiverse, you can kill everyone with impunity because it doesn't matter. There's no stakes at all. And that means you can have people show up for one day, film, get killed, and you can do anything. Because again, it's fan casting. Because for me, I didn't feel like John Krasinski was a good Reed Richards at all.
No,
it felt like he
was
just
fan
showed
casting.
up and read his lines. He was super boring.
He got
had
paid
no
for that day.
air of being intelligent or anything like that. It's like Brad Pitt showing up in Deadpool 2. That's except he had more talking lines than that. But just that idea that you can show up and then just be snapped out of existence. And so having this Illuminati in this universe, you have Peggy Carter from What If, and then you have Black Bolt from The Inhumans, the awesome ABC show that failed spectacularly. And then you have, instead of Monica Rambeau, as people thought, it was actually Maria Rambeau,
Right.
which is her
Little
mom
bait
who
switch.
died of cancer in our world or the MCU world. And then you have Charles Xavier rolling out because his voice was actually in the trailer, the first trailer. But the John Krasinski as Reed Richards is the big reveal, because when are they going to do Fantastic Four? How are they going to do Fantastic Four? And the cool thing is John Krasinski, he doesn't have to now be Reed Richards in an actual movie.
Right.
Yep.
So, Alex, since you didn't see the movie, Wanda comes in, storms this place because she wants America Chavez's
Storms this different dimension, yeah.
powers, right? So in the film they do this thing called dream walking. It's one of her powers sorcery that she does, to dream walk in between herself and other dimensions. So she'll find her variant in any other dimension and hijack that body and walk around. So she hijacks this body all creepy like a puppet, and murders to death instantly everyone.
Murders to death. Please say that again. I love
dead to death.
It's such an annihilation.
Oh my god! She starts with what's his name?
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt.
Yes.
And
the best.
I guess
That was
his
the best kill,
power,
though.
his power is that he speaks and it kills people. She removes his mouth with magic, and so when he speaks, it reverberates back, and his head just like implodes. Like you see it cave in.
And not only does it implode, it looks like a water balloon after it's done, because the brain is just turned to mush and his skull casing is cracked, and it's just this really cool practical effect.
It's probably
so
my favorite
visceral.
piece of horror.
Oh my god! I was like,
my god.
this is a Marvel movie.
I was like, oh my god! Like,
And then
that was awesome.
it felt like they didn't show it, but when she kills Peggy, it felt like Peggy almost got sliced in half.
Oh, she cut her in half
she
with the
did.
shield.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
she
It was-
did. I know they didn't
I
show
don't-
it, but I'm pretty sure she did.
I don't know if you guys watched Invincible, but after I talked to Trevor, I'm like, that was like Invincible. Like
Yeah,
when
It's
he
like
comics.
episode
I know
1
the
of
scene.
Invincible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't think we'd ever see something like that. in a
Live
Marvel
action.
movie.
Yeah.
With the shield dripping with blood is the whole
Yeah.
thing. God, it's great. This movie
And
is
then
so
Reed Richards, she just turns him into string, and he turns into one of her little red sparks.
He just,
But what's
She
fun
makes
about
such
that-
quick work of everything. Like, this
Well,
is their big bad Illuminati in this universe, where Doctor
yeah, she's like,
Strange
whatever.
has died in this universe. And these are like the 5 people that Doctor Strange put into place to handle any threat that comes through. And Wanda gets through them in about 2 minutes.
So what doesn't make sense to me is in the trailer they show Doctor Strange walking up to the Illuminati with all handcuffed. Like,
Yep.
so
It's because they consider him a threat because the other Doctor Strange almost destroyed their universe, and he destroyed another universe.
Mhm.
Yes.
Like, in What If, where that universe becomes marbled and he destroys the whole thing?
yeah.
The Doctor Strange in this Illuminati universe essentially did that.
to a different universe. And then they're like, he came back, he helped them defeat Thanos, and then they're like, you're too powerful, and they kill him.
Yeah. Straight up murder
So-
him to death.
Oh
So
my
when-
goodness. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this.
It's
Oh, it's a trip, dude. This whole movie's a
It's-
trip.
so when Doctor Strange and America arrive in this universe, first they get pizza balls from
Yes. From
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce
Bru-
Campbell. I was like, that's an interesting cameo.
I loved it.
Who is then cursed to punch himself for like 3 weeks. And
The
bas-
pizza balls
me
look
happy.
tasty too.
yeah. I
You
guess
kind
I'm
of did. I was not gonna lie.
need to learn how to make pizza balls. I'm sure there'll be recipes all over the internet in a few
It was like
days.
an ice cream bowl of like pizza.
And then they go to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and it's I'm not gonna say his name right. Mordo?
Mordo.
I think
I
he's just
always forget.
Mordo.
Mordo?
Yeah, I think he's
Mordo.
Mordo.
He's
Mordo
the
sounds right.
He's the sorcerer supreme there, and they're like, oh, like Doctor Strange's like, oh, he hates me in my universe, but he's like, oh, my friend, and then he drugs them.
And one of the
In their
trippiest
teeth.
scenes, like I tripped out in that scene. I was like,
And then
okay,
they
this is too
get
big of a
basically
screen for that.
imprisoned in these big cubes. They're like, you're too dangerous. We have to like analyze you.
Well, you just have to figure out: do you have diseases that we aren't have, any kind of protection against? Do you have any kinds of ways to break the fabric of reality? So we have to keep you in these little pods. But this is when Rachel McAdams in this universe shows up, and so Doctor Strange doesn't have a relationship. He goes to Rachel McAdams' wedding in our universe that we know, and then he goes to this one, and Doctor Strange is already dead. And the cool thing about this version of Christine is that she's not just a nurse. It's not like Doctor Strange is like, oh, I can't tell you about all the stuff that I do. She's full. She literally studies multiverses, and she's the one who knows all of this stuff. And it's super cool because this is the point where Marvel officially names the MCU as Earth 616,
which is weird.
It's a big deal to comic fans.
It was weird. I was not expecting that. I was like, this is 616? Like the same as the comics? Okay.
Yeah, that's the
That's fine. That's fine.
616.
It was
I'm
cool.
surprised. I thought they were going to give the MCU its own number. Like
Yeah,
it was
so
going to be
did
its own
I.
separate universe.
I
but
know. Like
of,
everyone
of
did.
course. They did it for the fan service, man. They really did.
But I thank God they stepped up her role. Like I didn't really care for her character in the first movie, like
she didn't
at
do
all.
really anything.
Yeah, she didn't
so-
do much, and they kind of didn't make her very likable, which I was like, why? Like it's Rachel McAdams, like
Why cast her?
she
Yeah.
deserves more. Yeah, like and then this she was like a badass. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, I
I
like
like
this
this.
Christine way more. I loved
So
how
much
like
better.
knowledgeable she was, and she's just like ready for action.
Mhm.
They go to a broken, colliding realities, and she just rolls with the punches.
Yeah,
She's like,
she's
"Oh
like,
yeah, this
I
is
know all
realities
about
when they
this."
collide and they break down." And there's like the Brooklyn Bridge is like in the ocean that's upside down. It's like, yeah.
There's this whole chase scene, Alex, where they're trying to escape from the Scarlet Witch. So they're after this like good book that's supposed to be like the antithesis of the dark.
The
tome.
bad book. Yeah,
Yeah.
they gotta. It's the book of the
Gotta get
dead
the
and the
book.
book
It's
of
the
the life
Sith
from the
and
mummy.
the Jedi. Yeah, it's the same thing.
So it's like there's this like special like door they have to get to, and so they're like running through like these underground tunnels, and Wanda's chasing them, and she's like all bloody. Her like foot is broken or something. She's like
just
dragging it
yeah.
behind her
It's
like
zombie
a zombie,
style. Yeah.
and it's scary. And they're like shutting these doors, and she keeps like ripping them apart. And sorry,
She's so
And-
excited.
No, Siri popped
Siri
up.
popped up.
Oh.
So we're like,
Huh?
and then they get to this last door and they shut it, and then they're just like standing there. I'm like, what? Keep running. Why are you just standing there waiting for her to break through the door? And it's like it gets really quiet, and there's like these
It's slow
drips,
motion, yeah.
and it's slow motion, and they keep zooming in slowly on the door. I'm like, something's gonna happen, and then it's jump scare. So just so you know when you
Classic
go,
jump scare.
Doors, jump scare. Got it.
yeah,
Thank
you'll know. But basically, they're doing all this. They get to the door, and Christine and heals the whole time.
Yep.
Just
And she jumps out that door. Like, yeah.
Yeah, she's just
All right,
running.
here we
She's
go.
got heels the whole time. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. And then they
Hold
get
on.
to the
Trevor,
door.
You had a problem with the girl on Jurassic World running around in heels. But you don't have a problem with this girl in
No,
heels
he
running
did.
around.
He's the one who pointed out to me.
I
and he's
point-
like,
Michelle
"Did you
liked it."
see the heels she was wearing?" I was like, "Yeah, this is awesome."
No.
Super impractical. You could not run in heels that way. At least I couldn't. I would totally like just
Well,
You'd be
apparently-
walking like
cement.
Wanda,
yeah.
where the leg is broken, dragging behind.
But yeah, so they get to this door, right? And it has like these enchantments on it that only Doctor Strange can do, and it's like a watch thing, and it's sentimental, blah blah blah. And then they go through the door, and they don't shut it behind them. They just leave it open.
They know Wanda's chasing them, and it's literally an enchanted door. It's not a door she can just blast with their red magic, and they just leave the door open like whatever.
That was kind of weird. I didn't notice that, but you're right. They left it open. I don't know why they would have. Like Doctor Strange should have been like, "Oh, whoop, let me shut that real quick. Take my watch, so you can't open it." But nope. So yeah, she got through. Oh well. Oopsie daisy. Anyways, that was a
What do
good
we-
jump scare. That was fun.
Huh.
Another good jump scare or horror scene was a shout out to House of M, where Professor Xavier
Oh my
goes
god.
into
dude.
Wanda's mind, and it's all rubble. And I'm like, this is the
I had to
opening
shield
frame
my
of House
face.
of M. This is
I
comic
was gonna
episode
cry.
one.
I was in the middle of the theater. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna cry! Don't cry! Don't cry! Don't cry! It's happening! It's happening!" I wasn't
And
the
he
only one. Other
goes,
people in the theater.
yeah,
were
he
like, "Oh,
goes in
yeah."
and he sees. So it shows that Scarlet Witch has taken over Wanda. Like Wanda's literally trapped in her own mind in the rubble, and he's trying to reach to her, and then the big red cloud comes from behind, and Wanda comes out of that, all like with black like veins on of her, with her red eyes bulging out, and breaks his neck. Boom! Professor X dead,
Dead forever.
murdered to death.
Murdered to death in his own mind.
The
Oh,
one
that's
fun thing
good.
in that scene, though, is when he's approaching the rubble, there's that old television there.
Yeah,
And it's
from
playing
WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Yeah.
And also, when we first see Wanda, there's the jingle of WandaVision.
I noticed.
It's really good.
I
it
also
made me really
noticed the
excited.
X-Men theme song. That was
Yes.
cool.
Oh my god. And that made me so happy when Professor X rolls up and they play the X-Men theme song. I was like, I never thought I'd hear this
And
in
if
a
you
Marvel
notice,
movie.
and I wrote this in my notes, that is not the Professor X from the movies. That's the Professor X. That's a variant of the cartoon.
Yeah, because he has the yellow. That's why he has the big, obvious yellow wheelchair.
Because technically he's dead at this point in
Yeah.
Logan. So spoilers for Logan. He's dead. So yeah, this is a
Wait,
different
what?
variant.
Wait, isn't Logan a different? It's not Earth 616 though, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it wouldn't be the same. I don't know. Either way, it wouldn't have been in the right timeline of things.
I mean,
so.
Charles Xavier doesn't exist in Earth 616 as far as we know.
Right.
He's not.
But this is right, but this would be Earth 838.
Yeah.
But now we have America Chavez, and at the end of the movie, she's saved and she stays on Earth 616, and she can now open a portal to any universe.
Come on in, everybody.
Water's fine.
She could go get freaking what's her name back? Black Widow back. Sure, whatever. Let's grab her from a different universe.
She can bring Tony.
I mean, it won't
back.
be
She
the
can bring young
same
Cap back.
one. Yes. So remember that I think a good thing for people to realize is that doesn't mean you can just bring anybody back from the dead. You're bringing a variant version of them.
Yes.
They're not going to
Yeah,
know
this
who,
is a
this,
different
who you
version.
are.
Yeah.
They're not going to understand that. That's why like those scenes with Christine were so poignant, because it wasn't his Christine. You know, that wasn't her Doctor Strange. So
Well,
you
it's
knew
like
that wasn't
Gamora
quite
that
work
they
out.
bring back.
And that too, I was
And,
going to say.
Yeah, when Quill's like, she's like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, they never had that relationship.
It'll
So.
be interesting how they play with that in the next Guardians movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how
But
how are
yeah.
they bringing in other Marvel characters, or is this just
We don't know.
yeah, we don't. So here's the thing:
don't
we
know.
don't know. We have no idea, right? But they set the so they do kind of tell you something. They say that out in the multiverse there is another version of you. So there's a version of you that exists in your say 616 universe. Then there's another variant of that out there. So if we're seeing Charles Xavier, a mutant, then that means mutants do exist somehow, some way in the Earth 616, but we just haven't seen them yet. Same thing with Fantastic Four. So that's kind of their cheap way of saying that they really, yeah, they're either they're hiding it or they haven't been introduced yet for whatever reason into our reality, but they do exist. So that's Marvel's way of kind of, you know, cheating it, I guess.
Mhm.
so now? And everything is
How they
like
do
you
it, I don't
said,
know.
Earth 616, Earth
Yes.
838, or whatever you're
Yeah,
saying
whatever
there.
it is.
So, but we're talking universe,
Yeah, it's just
universe
that's what they've
level,
always
but-
called it. Yes.
but Earth
Universe
is
level.
kind of the center of the universe.
Yeah,
for
because that's where
all-
Marvel focuses their attention.
It is.
Right.
Because that's where Stan Lee's at.
Ow! Excelsior!
Always
Sounds
remember, the person who writes the story dictates the story.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The age-old question: oh, if you had Hulk fighting Wolverine, who would win? Well, whoever I wanted to win when I wrote it on the page.
Mhm.
Well,
All
cool.
right,
So
so
tell me more.
I'm going to go through my notes because I didn't even really look at my notes too much while we were talking because we were talking all over the place.
I'm trying to think while he looks through his notes what else to talk
Well,
about.
I mean, the fun thing, I think the biggest thing for me is how live action What If it is. You have literally Peggy Carter,
It really
and
is.
then
Yep.
you have the version of Zombie Doctor Strange, which was outstanding. I love Zombie Doctor Strange. As soon as he's like, oh, we got it. There's no Doctor Strange left. I'm like, of course there is.
Oh yeah, by the way, there's a dead one at the very beginning. They kill one
Yeah,
of the Doctor
so they
Stranges
kill
and bury
one
him
Doctor
alive. Or
Strange.
bury him.
They
Yes.
kill Doctor Strange at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just a slightly different version. He has a ponytail.
And then they bury him on Earth 616. And so to get back to the reality to help America, because basically Wanda's trying to take her powers. I don't think we've even said that. So that
Yeah,
she
definitely.
can go and be with her kids. And they're like, well, why don't you just have her take you there? She's like, no, what if something happens to them and I have to go get medicines? And I'm like, or what if they die and you decide you want to replace them with other kids, because that's the kind of mental headspace that you are in. And so she's like, instead of having this girl just transport her to her kids, and then where she would then proceed to kill their actual mother and take her place, because that's not messed up. She's gonna suck away her powers and kill her as a result. And so where she's basically like, they're in this like Wanda's throne area. It's like this demon tomb where all the dark magic is written in the mountain walls, and she's like strapped to this like sacrificial table. And Doctor Strange is like, I have to help her, so I'm gonna dream walk. And Christine's like, but there's no living body for you of yourself to inhabit. He's like, who said it had to be living? And then you see this like zombie hand come up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very what if. It's not quite that Doctor Strange. Although we do kind of get that with when they get to this falling apart universe, him and Christine are a bit like banished there, basically. They do meet a Doctor Strange, and he has like the third eye, and he's all like, ooh, dark magic. And I'm like, I want the like tentacles to come out. I want him to like turn purple. He had purple magic.
He did.
So,
no, I knew you guys were going to say that. I'm like, as soon as like he never did that, I'm like, oh, you guys aren't going to be very happy that he didn't become the Doctor Strange from What If.
I was really hoping.
Oh well, yeah.
I will say too. Dang it!
I will say that was still one of my favorite scenes, though, because they used music to battle.
The music
The
fight.
music fight
was amazing.
I've never seen using classical music as the elements for a fight.
There was literally the weapons.
Yeah.
The notes were weapons.
That was an outstanding fight sequence.
Oh, so inventive. So fun.
Wow. You definitely need to see it then, because
Yes.
I can't wrap my head around it.
It's
He takes
literally
the notes off the
notes.
page,
Yeah.
and he uses the
throws it
notes
at
as
them,
darts,
and they make sounds like music. Oh, it's fantastic.
And then we see that bad version of Doctor Strange. He gets thrown out the window. He could save himself, but I guess he's given up and he just gets impaled.
Yeah, like he can open a thing and just live, but he's like, nah, I'm just gonna get impaled and die because I hate my life.
I mean, I just got beaten by magics. I mean, by music. So yeah.
And then Christine walks over and she's like, and then his third eye is like, ah! Just opens.
The third eye.
The third eye. The third eye, which does show up again in the very
but
second.
even just that zombie Doctor Strange flies with all these like demons from the underworld because he's doing a spell that he shouldn't do, and zombie Doctor Strange flying with demons in their wings. I'm there for that.
So Alex, because he inhabits a dead body, it breaks the laws of nature. And so these demon spirits, not even demons, they're just like spirits of the underworld. They come and they're like, you're breaking natural laws, get out of that body or deal with the consequences. And they start killing him basically. And Christine's like, don't let them do this. They're spirits and you're a master of the mystic arts. So he harnesses them and like turns them into like a cape basically. And then they become wings and he's like flapping across the sky like some dead crow.
Oh my god.
It's great stuff. It's just not Marvel stuff.
Here's
know.
the problem is we just finished talking about Moon Knight and here we are talking about this extravaganza in amazingness.
Yeah.
Like I'm having a really hard time wrapping my head around all this stuff.
Well,
No,
one
it's-
is a movie and one's a TV show as well. They don't have the same budgets and the same type of directors. This is Sam Raimi. This isn't whoever directed those. No offense to them.
Oh, I meant to say this in the Moon Knight podcast. Damn.
Right.
Just that I would love to see Moon Knight under like a good director. See what they do with him. Because it really, the people writing the thing, the people directing it, they just.
I mean, to that multiple arm sequence, like Doctor Strange does that in Infinity War when he's fighting Thanos.
Mhm.
To have it actually flipped on its head to be demons being the arms, it's a fun juxtaposition of scenery.
And then
It
he's a
was fun.
zombie and his like jaws like.
Oh, when he's talking to America, he gives the motivational speach of the movie.
Oh, the best
Literally,
moment of
with
the film.
half of his cheek missing, and just says, "America, you got this."
America, you got it. Oh my god, I almost lost it. Like that was classic Raimi. I'm like, I feel like I was watching Evil Dead for the first time again. It was fantastic
So
because he used real prosthetics. This was not
Yeah.
CGI. This
Yeah.
was like caked on makeup and oh, so much fun, dude.
okay, so
So good.
they travel through multiple universes. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
just
a
like
fun scene,
616 or 838 or
So they do
like,
have that
there's-
scene where they go through all the dimensions. They go
Yeah.
through like different cartoon dimensions and
The
The
cartoon
paint one.
dimension. So the paint dimension, everybody's paint. Like it's totally Rick
Everybody,
and Morty type
everything's
of
paint.
thing.
Yes.
It's just like, what's the craziest thing we can come up with? And they go through like 10 right in a row. And the comic book is actual universe was amazing, but the paint universe is amazing. And they go the
That was
underwater
fun.
universe.
It was fun. I mean, you had the writer of Rick and Morty who wrote this, so of course
You're
he's
just
gonna throw
having
that stuff
fun
in
with,
that.
because there's the mundane where you wake up in the morning 5 minutes or like say you put snooze on your alarm and say you wake up, that's a different universe just from that decision. But then of course there's the crazy thing where everything's paint.
Yeah, well, what do you do? Everything's paint. I don't know. I don't know what you eat. Pizza paint? I don't know.
Pizza paint.
Really hard to
Maybe.
eat there.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that America Chavez, where whenever she's been to 73 universes, and the first thing she does at all of them is eats.
Yeah.
That's what I
course.
would do.
What's their food like? Yeah. I want to know. Show me. Your
And then
teeth.
everything's free. You know, your universe is one of the first where it's paid, and the guy's like, "Hey, you didn't pay for that."
It's like, oh. Oops.
Such a
That was
good
great.
line.
And then
Well,
the
they
fun
have that-
gag. The fun gag where he has to punch himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop hitting
It's
yourself.
like, oh, don't worry, I'll go away in a few seconds. And he's like, no, it won't. It'll
And
be
then
3
so
weeks.
this is in universe like 868, 866, whatever it was. And they have this thing, they stand on these pads and it shows you like your memories. And
Mhm.
so Doctor Strange stands on it and it shows him a memory of when him and Christine were together.
So he gets the watch.
And he gets to watch. They keep showing and it's broken. And then America stands on it and you see her with she has two mothers, which has caused like a whole bunch of controversy
Of
in
course.
showing the movie overseas because that's how people are these days. And it's just, and then she's handing them a flower, like one of her mothers a flower, and there's a bee. And so she screams, and you learn earlier in the film that whenever she's afraid, she opens these portals to other dimensions. And so she screams when she sees the bee, and it opens a portal that sucks her mothers in.
Oh,
And she
jeez.
never sees them again.
Yet.
Yet.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've just to pause you a second. So not too long ago, you were just talking about Doctor Strange talking to America
Mhm.
as a zombie.
Yes.
Yes, at the end of the movie, yeah.
Because I haven't seen the movie, and
Uh-huh.
you guys have been saying America Chavez so much, by calling her America, I'm literally thinking he's talking to America. You got this, America. And he's talking to everybody in the United States.
I know.
Like,
I want a
hey,
gif of
you
that.
got that. And so now, in my mind's eye, I'm thinking Doctor Strange as a zombie
Mind's
trying to convince America, the
But they
great
got it.
nation we live in, as a zombie. Like
No.
that
America,
was
the
now
teenage
now
Yeah.
I'm tracking. Now I'm back in. Gotcha. Okay,
back
But
to that
America Chavez does is pretty star spangled bannery because her
Yeah.
portals are stars.
So
They're
that's
like
one
rainbow
thing I
stars.
brought up. If I was going to create a portal, a star feels inconvenient because there's the little like arch
Cutouts, right?
right in the middle. Like Doctor Strange's are a circle, so there's not as much tripping. But if you're on the edges, you can't get through. Why don't they make square portals so it's a flat, so no one trips as they're going into the next dimension?
I don't know. That's a good question, man. Yeah.
wait,
Just
Star
like think
seems
about that.
very inconvenient.
do people trip when they go through?
I don't
Don't
know.
know,
There's
you
a
would think
shape
so.
that there's a blockade that's not the portal that you're gonna have to get over in some way.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Star.
They never really address any of that in any of the movies, do they?
No.
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 I want to see somebody stumble as they're going into a two dimension.
They miss the destination. They end up in
Yeah.
a paint dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever
I'm
end up
still-
in the paint dimension.
So fascinated by these other now, and just
Man,
to
I'm
get a little bit outside of the
That's the thing. So, Alex, just before you say that, when you're watching
Yeah,
the
yeah.
theater, I do want to pause and rewind to see what happened, or freeze frame it, and you can't do that when you're at the theater. It's the worst. Watching movies at home has ruined me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm curious. So, do you guys this is outside of the movie. Do you guys believe in a multiverse? Like
Oh, absolutely.
other universes
why
out
not?
there that
Yeah,
Did you just say, oh, absolutely?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, did you just say? I don't know if I believe it 100%, but I believe in the possibility of it. I think within the realm of science, I think there's a lot of things that are probable for sure.
Mhm.
yeah. Okay.
Doesn't mean
Magic
I
is
will
just
be like,
science
yes, for
we don't
sure.
understand.
Exactly.
It's called sleight of hand, guys. That's what magic is. Come on.
Same
We
with
Well,
shows.
they do this whole thing in Doctor Strange where they're like, when you dream, you're seeing very nice.
Magic.
Ma-
Sorry,
Alex
if you're
just did a
not watching
magic
on
trick.
YouTube, that
Everyone's
does
like,
not
what?
But they do this whole thing in the movie, Alex, where they explain that when you dream about yourself, you're seeing another one of your lives in these other dimensions.
I feel like I've said that before. I said that before.
Alex has
Okay.
said that.
Oh, there you go.
No,
I
well,
think
Alex
in
is
our
ahead of
multi-
his time.
In our multiverse episode.
Marvel is listening to us. Oh my
dude,
god.
I'm telling you what, Feige, I swear to God, dude, you owe me $5, bro. It was in a different universe.
I would love for him to actually give you $5. Like that idea is worth way more, but him to just
I'm
hand
like,
you
yeah.
a $5 bill.
He's like, sure, buddy. There you go.
Frame
My
it. Be
wife
like, this is the
slept with
$5
me
that Kevin
today.
Feige gave me.
Hey,
I'd
you
accept.
know that Marvel multiverse? That was my idea.
That was a great idea. You're dreaming thing.
I got it for $5.
$5. You get.
Yep. Oh, but what makes this is another thing I liked about the America Chavez character is that she is unique. She's the only one
Mhm.
of herself. She
She
has no
doesn't dream.
variance because she doesn't dream. She's
Why
the
doesn't
only
she
one of her
dream?
kind.
What, I don't understand.
Because
What-
she doesn't have a variance. Because since she's able to create portals in between multiple dimensions, she can't, I guess, exist in multiple dimensions. So because of that, she cannot dream because there are no other variants of herself out there.
Did they explain why she's the only variant? Or
No.
variant,
No.
the only one?
That's the explanation. Just that
Yeah.
since she can move through portals, another version of her doesn't exist.
Because she can exist in any universe, but it has to
Right.
be her.
She can exist in all universes theoretically. No one else can.
Wait, so her power is to open up portals and move through portals.
Mhm.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that what it- okay.
You know the scene
Yeah.
where like I'm gonna
I
kick your
don't know
ass
the
into a
scene.
different dimension? You know that scene? Like I'm gonna punch you into a different dimension
okay.
or something?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
She almost does that to Wanda. She punches her and opens a portal behind her, but Wanda's too powerful and she withstands that. But she literally tries to punch her into a different dimension. It's fun.
Nice.
And
So
that
that's
was
probably in
fun.
that's in the trailer where it looks like this
Yes.
girl's doing a
She's
big
like,
super punch.
yeah, that thing. Yes, that thing.
And then they finish the fight with an emotional moment.
Oh yeah, so I liked the movie, but as I'm watching, I'm like, they're gonna use talking to save the day, and they used talking to save the day.
They did. Yeah. Which
I
was
mean,
like, yeah.
it's not full on talking. Essentially, what she does, she uses reality without bending reality to show Wanda how scary she's become. So America opens a portal to that world that she keeps going to, where Billy and Tommy are there, and they see Scarlet Witch, and they are scared to death. Like they
throw
have
things
their
at her, it's
mom. They
hilarious.
actually have
Like,
Wanda.
Get away from us,
Yeah,
witch.
they throw stuff in the house, like
was
toys
like,
and stuff at
Do
the
they not
witch.
have superpowers in this universe?
I know it was weird. Like, why didn't he use any super speed or?
like,
Maybe they
"Here's
don't."
my
Yeah, it's
toy."
interesting.
That
Oh,
was my other
so-
gripe, though. I do have a gripe with this
What?
film, and that's one of them. That we didn't get to see Billy and Tommy's powers. I thought we were going to see like more of them, or at least to see like what their future was going to be like, and we didn't get a hint of that.
So one thing that Michelle brought up.
Where's Vision?
I was just about to ask that.
I think they're saving him and for her redemption arc. I don't think they wanted him. In
I know,
this.
but it's like, so we know White Vision is still around.
right.
Like,
Right.
he's chilling
He just
somewhere
pieced out.
616.
Right.
But like in every other universe, there should be a Vision, or there was a
Oh,
Vision.
you mean in every? Yeah, I get you.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's like that's all they
There's
need.
just Wanda.
Yeah.
Every time we see her with her kids, it's just her. We never see Vision, even like a version of Vision, anything, or some
Just
other
Paul
father.
Bettany showing
Yeah,
up in
it's like
regular form.
with Paul Bettany
So-
busy.
I wonder if this is just me spitballing here for the MCU. I don't know if this is going to be correct. I don't have Kevin Feige's number on hand, but my guess is that since she is a Nexus being, that she kind of exists fairly the same across all these different, multiverses. So since they're all kind of in that same timeline, Vision would be dead. It would just be her and the boys. Only she can only become the Scarlet Witch, I guess, in one of the multiverses. So in that multiverse, she became the Scarlet Witch. In the other ones, she was still just Wanda with her 2 boys after Vision had died.
But I mean, she creates her kids in our universe.
Right.
So in these
But that's the caveat, is that I'm not too sure if Billy and Tommy are real or not. Because Doctor Strange says for a fact they're not real. Like, you made these kids up. She did. But was she able to make them up because they already existed in these other dimensions?
Since the kids always look the same, I wonder if she saw a glimpse of them and makes them based on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she created them because she was able to,
even if the kids only existed in one universe, if one Wanda finds the kids, she could then replicate it in every universe.
But I'm just saying,
that's something. Yeah.
There has to be a Vision somewhere. It's
there has to be White Vision somewhere.
But it's like she loved Vision so much, and she's going through all this trouble for her kids. I'm just surprised that Vision isn't included in that plan either. But also because I just think Vision would be the one person that could stop her. They don't try to be like, we need to find Vision because he can stop her.
Doctor Strange's good strategy would be to find Vision.
Yeah.
But no.
But he might not know that White Vision even exists.
No, but any Vision.
Yeah. He's like, when he goes to a universe, he's like, I have to find myself. He should try to find Vision.
I just wonder, since he's not technically alive, would he exist in other dimensions?
But then how does she have kids?
You're right. The thing about that,
and she had kids with somebody else,
is the Sentinels in the Illuminati universe are Ultron based.
Yes.
And I was like, I didn't know if Ultron was going to be the leader in this universe or whatever.
I really wanted him to be.
But there's definitely an Ultron connection. But in Earth 616, Tony and Bruce make Ultron. And does this mean that Reed Richards made Ultron in this universe? Because he's like fully contained as just a security guard. Like, he's not created like as an AI type of thing where he has his own intelligence to him.
Yeah, good question.
Is it Robert California's voice?
No, he doesn't. He just talks like a computer.
Like a robot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They just look like Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
It's more to the idea that Ultron is tied to Vision. They'll always be just connected. And so it's weird to have no Vision in this universe where Ultrons are the Sentinels. And then, because also this is the universe where Peggy is Captain America, which means that Steve isn't Captain America. And then what if that means that this is the one where Howard Stark makes the Iron Man suit back during World War II? And so does it change Tony's entire trajectory? And so he never makes Ultron because he doesn't have that same push to make Iron Man. It's really a whole, once you get to multiverses, there's so many dominoes of how things play out. When you change one butterfly wing flap, it changes everything.
That's what's so fun about What If.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like
When
like Black Panther being Star-Lord and all that stuff. Like, I want to see more of that type of stuff too.
It's even the fight though, like in the What If Zombies, there's the zombie Scarlet Witch and she fights Hulk. And I would have loved to see like Hulk's been super nerfed in the MCU, but like the full on Hulk and Scarlet Witch would be an epic showdown. Because we just saw how powerful Scarlet Witch is. Because you can do so much in any multiverse.
And bring back Edward Norton as Hulk.
And Eric Bana. Have the whole Hulkverse. Planet Hulk's coming though.
And then it turns into the Spider-Man
so
movie.
That's
all
another
over
one.
That's another thing.
So you'd say it.
Okay, so I'm like really into Spider-Man. He's my favorite. Like I read the Spider-Verse comics. So they mentioned Spider-Man in the beginning. We were talking to America Chavez, and she was like, Spider-Man? Like she's never heard of him.
She's been to 73 universes.
73 universes, and she's never heard of Spider-Man. And if you know anything about the Spider-Man multiverse, there is a spider in every universe. every universe. It's like a whole thing in the Spider-Man lore. And I was like, there's no way that's true. They shouldn't have included that. I know they wanted to do the whole like Sam Raimi joke and like, oh, he shoots webs out of his butt or whatever. But I was like, no, that's not true.
It was a weird throwaway of a Spider-Man joke.
It
when
was.
Spider-Verse is so, like, it's literally the multiverse thing. When you come to comics and multiverse, it's Spider-Verse.
Yeah, because that's the one thing, like in the comics where all the time multiple Spider-Mans team up across universes to like battle some multi-dimensional threat. It's what they do.
Well,
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Even in the, what is it? The MCU, that was kind of our introduction to multiverse, was with Miles Morales and all that. The cartoon. Nobody really thought about multiverses until really that came out, and then it was like, oh, hey, people really like this multiverse thing.
There's just so many possibilities. Because you don't have to be like, well, we can't have Peter Parker if we want Miles Morales. It's like, or we could have both.
Yeah.
Both.
Wow, I did
Both
not think
good.
about that scene in that way.
It was just a weird throwaway like joke scene when it actually, if you've been to 73 universes, there's a paint Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there is.
There's this whole comic plot basically where there's like these vampires, like, and they eat spiders. That's who they eat. And they like go from universe to universe and they kill the spiders. So maybe they already exist and they've already killed the spiders in all the dimensions that America's been to. But that's what they do. And the spiders have to like team together to stop them. It's a really good story arc. I would love to see it in film one day, but
Nice.
Yeah.
Wild, guys. This was a wild ride.
This movie is a wild ride.
Oh, I want to see it again.
That's the big, like, you know that I'm not a person to rewatch movies, but when it was over, I wanted to rewatch it, and that's
I want to
kind of
watch
how
it in
I would
3D.
judge if it's good.
Yeah. 3D IMAX.
The toughest thing for me is that I keep leaving Marvel movies, and I'm like, oh, that's so amazing. Like I left Endgame, I was like, that's super amazing. There's no way they can top that. And then I saw No Way Home, and I was like, they did it. They pulled all the Spider-Mans together that's been built over all these different years. And now Doctor Strange, I feel, was the one where, like I said at the top, the cameos weren't there just to be cameos. They were actually intricate to the story and developing what Doctor Strange and America are going through, as well as what Scarlet Witch is going through. Like, it's plot specific.
Well said. Yeah.
In that same vein, I said this in my spoiler-free review too. We were talking about this. I'm like, I feel like there are going to be people who are not going to like this movie because it is MCU heavy. If you aren't into the MCU, if you just like if you just casually want to go to the movies and you're like, oh, I'll see the new Doctor Strange, you're gonna hate this movie.
I haven't been to the movies in a while. Everyone's talking about this Doctor Strange. I'm gonna go see it. It's gonna be weird.
But
You're not gonna
Sam
understand
Raimi.
it.
Well, Sam Raimi has a very distinct old school style of filmmaking. And I don't think a lot of younger people will be like, what is going on in this movie? There's so many crazy, weird camera angles and choices and corniness that like you're either going to love or hate.
But even just like plot wise, like following everything, I'm like, man, I'm glad that I'm like up to par on my MCU.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, because I'm like, I can't imagine watching this movie having not seen WandaVision.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine it. It just won't make sense.
Yep.
Honestly, watching Marvel What If, I know it's animated, but it helps a lot just with getting your mind around the idea that, oh, hey, we can have Captain America be a different version of Captain America.
For sure.
A quick question. When they go into the Paint universe, did they turn into Paint themselves?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's brief, but yes.
Okay.
Every
Like
universe
literally,
they
they show like 10 universes and it flashes for a half a second each, but they become in that universe while they're
Whatever that is,
essentially America's subconsciously using her powers. They're tumbling through dimensions.
So
It's
that
very
in the trailer where his face is all
Yeah,
blocks.
that's the universes.
It's very similar to that scene in the first Doctor Strange where he's like,
Falling?
he's
The ancient one
falling, and the ancient
sends him
one like
through,
throws
yeah.
him through all those astral planes and stuff, and he's like, it's really trippy. It's like watching a kaleidoscope fall apart. It's very similar to that.
I love that string of words. Watching a kaleidoscope fall apart, that's just fun.
Fun.
That's a T-shirt.
Sell it for $5.
There
We got
you
it.
go.
All right, so do you
Feige.
want to talk the ending and the stinger?
Oh, the
at
bonus
end?
scene?
Well, before the bonus scene too, we actually get Doctor Strange with his third eye.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We
he's
thought
walking.
that was
So
gone.
everything's wrapped up in the story, but Doctor Strange, they told him if you use the Book of the Damned or whatever they like to call it, that you will have ramifications from this. And he's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
Christine
yeah.
asked him, you good? He's like, oh, of course I'm good. And so he's got his little scarf. He's going out on the town. Everything's
It's
all
hilarious.
wrapped
He's
up.
like,
His watch is fixed. And then he collapses over on the street and the third eye pops out of his head.
and he screams, "Fade to black."
Yep.
That's
It's,
the movie.
classic.
it's a good way to
Classic.
end this movie. Yes.
I mean, it's Evil Dead. It's the Evil Dead ending. It's fantastic. I loved it. It was just screaming at the camera and they cut to black. Oh, I laughed heartily at that. Anyways, yeah.
Okay, so there
Well,
was.
he has a
another
third
one,
eye
right?
now. So yeah, so there is an actual end credit scene where he is back on the street again, just
And so
walking.
the big thing, I just want to set everybody up. I know Alex talked about Tom Cruise as Iron Man or whatever, but it seems at this point, the MCU has become such a big thing that every actor who's ever acted is going to be in the MCU at some
Oh,
point.
yeah.
And so,
All of them.
guess what? Charlize Theron, she's in the MCU now.
Surprise! The surprise cameo. Yeah. So she shows up
shows
in
up.
the after credit scene.
She
Yeah,
says, "Hey,
as
Doctor
who?
Strange." He turns around. She's dressed all in purple. I thought she was an Eternal because her costume looked like she was an Eternal.
She looks like an
And,
Eternal of that outfit. Yeah,
and
but
she's
not.
like, "You started an incursion," which is basically when two universes collide and destroy each other. And she takes out this knife. She cuts an X in the sky and it opens. And she's like, "Oh, you're going to help me fix it." And she's like, "Are you scared?" His third eye opens and he's like, "No."
no.
Or something. I don't know exactly what he
I don't know
said.
he
she
said
asks
either.
him, like, are you ready to go or something? He's like, yeah.
Always, whatever.
yeah.
It's like, all right.
But it like she's powerful enough that she has a sword and she can just literally cut a fabric of reality
Yeah.
and transport between dimensions. So that's pretty powerful.
She's kind of like Psylocke, but for multi-dimensional travel, I guess.
She looked like Psylocke's outfit,
Kind
but
of,
she's
in a way, yeah.
she's credited as Clea.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
gonna
That
be
is.
maybe his future wife if they decide to get married. We'll see.
Yeah, they just
How far
I
this
was reading
relationship
the
goes.
quick storyline. They love that. It's like they introduced a character I have no idea.
Let's go find
Let's
out.
Read about it.
Yep.
Google.
Well,
To the Googles.
they've erased Rachel McAdams as an option for a love interest, so he has to
Right.
move on and
Yes.
find somebody that can keep up with his very strange lifestyle.
I mean, he
Oh,
shouldn't
dang.
have.
She
He
looks
learned
awesome.
about of.
Yeah.
He should have learned though. The reason he can't be with Christine or with anything is the reason that Wanda was such a devastating thing. You can't have those attachments. If you choose to be Sorcerer Supreme, those attachments are always going to be problems.
she's a Jedi.
Yes,
He's a Jedi.
it's a Jedi thing.
It is.
Attachments are the problem. You don't have
Oh
to
my
be
god,
a
Wanda
Jedi.
fell to the dark side. Oh my god, she's Darth Vader.
She is. It's all the same story.
Everything's the same.
There's
story,
only so
bro.
many stories.
I know.
Exactly.
7 exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So I guess he's going to be going into the dark dimension for number 3.
Well, when they opened it, I mean, that's the dimension that Dormammu's in. Like
Yeah, it's
that
the
was
dark
It looked
the
just like
exact
it.
Dormammu dimension.
Well, apparently, according to Google, she is Dormammu's daughter, so that would make sense.
Wow. No
Dormammu.
family resemblance.
Yeah,
at all.
and he's like some big.
I know,
weird,
right? Like, he did not
purple
look
thing.
super hot. I have no idea how that
I
happened.
wonder who the mom is then.
I,
I-
Kim Basinger.
I
Maybe?
love Marvel like parenting. Like Harry Styles is Thanos' brother.
I know.
love
I'm like,
that.
right? Like, okay. All right, we'll see. Yes, and
Well,
then
now
you
I'm
got the
having
final,
fun doing all this research.
the
Yeah.
final stinger of Bruce Campbell finally stopping hitting himself,
And
which I
then
enjoyed as
saying
well.
it's over. He just shouts, "It's over" at the camera, and then the screen turns off.
Yeah, I just love Bruce Campbell. That was fun.
I also love how bad Doctor Strange's mirror universe is. We've seen him 2 movies in a row. He opened it up for Spider-Man. Spider-Man defeats it in like 2 minutes. He opens it for
Wanda.
Wanda. She defeats it in like 2 minutes. He needs to step his game up.
Yeah, she looked at it like, oh, I could just put my hand through it. Okay.
Yeah, that was really clever. I was like,
Yeah, I would have thought. Of that.
Also, her having the black fingertips like Agatha does,
Mhm.
that was really fun.
Good callback,
on
right?
that
It's like, oh,
note-
she's sucking the power.
So, does Agatha have the dark tome in WandaVision, and then Wanda takes it, or do we see how she comes into possession of it?
We know the end scene. She's in the cabin in the
She
woods and she
has it.
has it, but we don't
never
see her
actually
get it.
her take it. No,
But did Agatha
So-
have it?
Agatha.
Because I
had
know
it.
there's a book in Agatha's basement.
Oh no, that's the dark one. It's the same book. But we
Okay,
never
it's the
saw her
same book.
take it from her, so I just assumed she took it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, that is the same book. That's what she was studying the incantations for.
Okay.
And it's possible that maybe after this she goes and seeks out Agatha, and maybe she's part of the Agatha show. And that's how she redeems herself. I
Her
don't
and
know.
Agatha do a team up.
They do like a little buddy cop team up thing. I don't
Yeah.
know. Two bad witches.
And ruin everything that we've gotten to.
No, they'd be like the Vernon Shirley. It'd be a lot of fun. Shamil, Shamazel.
I'm just seeing them
That's
skipping
Pfeffer
down the
Incorporated.
street, and they're like crazy outfits.
Yeah, they're great. What these witches do?
I don't know. People really liked Agatha, so
Yeah. Right?
I think people are like, I feel like people kind of questioned why Wanda got her own show because they hadn't really done much with her in the MCU.
Mhm.
And then now I feel like Wanda's going to be one of the most popular MCU characters. Like she had a turn as a villain, but she's just such a badass that people gravitate to that.
I mean, I bought her skin in Fortnite today. So yeah.
I should have got the ears at Disneyland.
Yeah, those are going to be hot stuff.
Those
man.
those already sold out. Those sold out in like 2 seconds, I believe.
We saw them when we went like a week ago.
Sure got them. I meant online. I don't
know.
know about in person, but yeah. Fun. All right,
So you
what's
had-
next for them, do you think?
For Doctor Strange?
For all of these characters, yeah.
So Doctor Strange is interesting just because he's been almost like in everything Marvel recently.
Yeah,
Like
he's been in everything. I don't think he
He-
minds either.
he's the
there.
bridge to everything. Like he'll do the voice work in What If. He'll show up in Spider-Man. He's like, you want me in Infinity War and Endgame, and I'm overseeing everything. I'm doing my standalone movies. I'll show up wherever you want me, wherever you need me.
He's the new
Yep.
Tony Stark.
Money,
So-
baby. I'm not
I mean,
turning
Benedict
down
Cumberbatch,
cash.
he knows what to do. Like, also him playing, like, we know, I do want to give a shout out. Oscar Isaac did an amazing job. Benedict Cumberbatch, he plays different Doctor Stranges really well.
He does, actually. He was pretty good in this. Yeah, he could probably. Yeah, no, I know he said he could do it for another 10 years or more. So
The cool thing about Doctor Strange is he doesn't have to be all bulk like Thor or Cap.
that's true. He can be whatever he wants. So yeah, this is great. I just get to walk around being all badass. Yeah, I'll do it.
So I guess he's
Easy
going on
peasy.
a adventure as Charlize Theron,
Yeah, I mean,
and then
Who wouldn't
I'm
want to?
interested what they do with America. Like, is she gonna
I
get
don't
her own
know.
show now? Is she gonna get a movie? Is she just gonna be one of those characters, kind of like how Scarlet Witch was, where she just kind of shows up in everything before they?
She'll be plot character. We need to go to a new dimension. Hey,
Yeah,
hey, we
that's
know
true.
somebody who can open portals. And then she shows up and opens it and then leaves.
she's like, goodbye, thanks.
Is she part of the Young Avengers?
So she
Yeah,
might be
okay.
part of it soon. We'll see.
Maybe she'll show up in Miss Marvel.
She could. I doubt it, but she could.
She had a
think
Miss
so.
Marvel
She
vibe,
could.
just in terms of attitude.
Oh, we do have Terrigen Mist now, since we do have the Inhumans in canon, finally. Not that I enjoyed the show at all, it was terrible. But that means Terrigen Mist does exist. So we could
I just
have
felt like it
Inhumans.
was a really way to be dismissive of Inhumans really quick,
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
more
I loved
than bringing them in on board to do anything with. They're like, ha, look.
it. Ha, now we kill you.
It was a way to be dismissive of a lot of things.
Yeah. It was essentially, hey, you know all those cool fan theories you guys have of like, oh, the Fox X-Men, and oh, you know, Inhumans, and oh, John Krasinski is Reed Richards.
Well, here you are.
Dead.
But now dead. Yes.
Here they are, all your
That's fun.
wishes. Now watch us kill them.
Kill them all. Yeah, it'd be fun to see
Yeah.
where all this goes. I'm excited
Yeah.
for
It's
that.
interesting to see where Wanda's story will take her now that she's kind of realized that she's turned into a monster and needs to
Mhm.
figure her stuff out.
Yeah. Yep.
Trevor thought she was dead at first, and I was like, no.
I didn't think it was more that I wanted the version with the kids to be the new version of Wanda.
I gotcha.
She
mean,
wasn't
it
very
could be.
powerful. She could be.
Yeah. Who knows? we'll see what they decide to
And maybe
do.
we'll find out who the father is.
Maybe.
It's Doctor Strange.
It's God.
Yeah.
It's Reed Richards.
Mephisto.
It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
so-
Al-
course.
Obviously. Ugh, I
It
can't
took
believe I
this
didn't
long to mention Mephisto and Doctor Strange.
An
too.
hour and a
He-
half into
bad
this
guy.
episode? Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
jeez.
Let's
Yeah.
wrap this up.
think that. Nicely.
We
That's a
mentioned
great way to
Mephisto.
end
We
it.
have to end this episode now.
I didn't
Yes.
see Nightmare either. Just
No,
saying.
I know. No nightmare. Oh well.
But everyone, hopefully you watched WandaVision, Doctor Strange 2. It's really what Marvel is just keeps pulling it off. They've come down to they've built such a big expansive universe. They don't even have to bring everything in, and it's still a big deal when they bring in a few things. It's just they've almost perfected making must-see theater fare.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Nice.
They know what to get butts and seats, that's for sure.
And shout out to Sam Raimi. He's did an awesome job with this. Like,
Yeah.
seriously.
Good job, Sam. We knew you had it in you.
Yay!
So hopefully he directs more.
And hopefully we
That's
get
stuff.
more horror in the MCU because this was fun little tidbits of it.
It was. I enjoyed it all.
And then to everyone listening, what does Ant-Man and the Quantum Realm have in store for us?
Oh God.
Quantumania.
Until then, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you next time.
Frog out.
Adios,
Okay.
y'all.
Oh no, the exit video, it's hidden.
That was the best ending ever.
I just pulled it over. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. We're talking Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. The brand new, super, just in theaters. I don't know. I wanted to give it some more spice, but I got nothing. There's no other way to describe it.
Keep rolling, baby. This is great. Great intro. Hey, this is Alexander Wolfgang. Let's get into some spoilers.
For every take you get a new like universe that pops up, like a variant of yourself branches off. So just be careful how many times we have to redo this.
Oh, crud. Loki. I get it.
Yeah.
If you end it, don't you have to start a new broadcast?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna. We'll just start the video again.